What's going on? This is Marcus, and in this video we're going to do a February budget closeout where I'll be providing a debt snowball update as it relates to my student loans. If you're interested in following my debt-free journey and learning a little bit about finance, I definitely invite you to subscribe to the channel and click that like button because it'll definitely help the channel grow. Now, above I'll put a link to my February mid-month check-in where I talked about how things kind of turned out. In short, I actually got an escrow refund of about $1,400. That offset some dental costs. So I was looking at being about plus $760 some odd for the month. So this is kind of how things wrapped up. First, let me tell you about where we went over budget. We had additional costs related to my daughter and dance. I don't know, for some reason she tapped in her tap shoes and I guess a little piece of the shoe peeled off and she just took it upon herself to peel the whole thing off. So one shoe looked like a legitimate tap shoe and the other one looked like a slipper. So I had to buy some new tap shoes. They had performances coming up. It was costume costs in addition to that were unexpected because she had got included into additional dances. So because she was doing these additional dances, it was additional costumes. So all in all, what we went over on the dance and the mid-month video where I went over on my miscellaneous, in total we went over about $74.20. Now let's talk about where we saved money. Amazingly enough, we actually saved money with groceries. I'm thinking because it was just maybe a little bit shorter month or something to that effect. I'm not really sure. We just didn't buy as much for some strange reason. I'm not sure why, but it just kind of worked out that way. Now, what we ultimately ended up saving on groceries was $92.82. So when we cancel all those things out, we're looking at overall for the end of the month with the budget categories. So as it relates to the budget categories, and I'll put a link above to a video where I went over what the budget categories are and the percentage and the payments, so you can all see that. But essentially, we ended up being in the green for the month with the budget categories. Essentially, we saved $18.62. In another video that I'm going to do right at the end of the month, I'm going to do an emergency fund update, and I'm going to let you all know the breakdown of how these new investment mechanisms that I opened up with my personal money are going to go, so that excess $18.62 will just get wrapped up into the investments that we're going to include with any excess from budget categories, and we're also going to include cashback bonuses that we receive at the end of the month. So in that video, I'll do a detailed breakdown of just how the emergency fund is going, how the investments are going, and the credit card breakdown is going, so we can track that every month throughout the year. Now, let's take a look at what happened with regard to student loans. Now, first of all, before we get started, I always got to go into a little bit of a tangent or a rant, if you will. And it was funny. I was actually going to do a video on a student loan update, but I thought it was hilarious because prior to the whole impeachment thing, and I don't want to get this turning political, but prior to the whole impeachment, the student loan forgiveness had actually got interesting because essentially Senate Democrats were like, hey, Joe Biden, just wipe out $50,000 with an executive order with the stroke of the pen. And this was really odd because, I mean, it had the support of Chuck Schumer and all the normal, I guess, establishment Democrats, but also, you know, the more liberal AOCs and everyone were involved. So that happened right before the impeachment hearing. So that kind of made things interesting because I was like, man, wow, the entire Senate majority and all the Democratic leadership are on board with this. So let's fast forward through the impeachment trial, and then we get to Joe Biden's first actual town hall that he did. And the question was just beautiful because if you all can go back at any video that I did was a student loan update, I said from the jump, I kind of knew what Joe Biden's position on this whole thing was. And so the young lady, and you all probably see it, asked him, what are you going to do to make sure $50,000 is forgiven? He said, I won't be doing that. I just laughed. As terrible as it is, as much as that can help people out, I definitely see the benefits and the problems on both sides of the equation, no matter where it falls. But it was interesting. I already knew that was going to be his answer. You could always go back and look at my student loan videos. I already knew that was the case. as I said in those videos before, they keep urging him to do this forgiveness through an executive order, and Joe Biden and his team is essentially just saying, hey, we're going to see if we can, even the $10,000, we're going to see if we can get this through Congress. And if it has to go through Congress, chances are it's just not going to pass. Now let's talk about my debt snowball progress related to my student loans. So I'll tell you all initially what my plan was, and you all remember from the initial January budget. I'll link that above the video where I talk about my student loan repayment strategy, but essentially we were looking at about having $3,600 a month go towards the payment of student loans so long as there's forbearances in place. I will tell you that in light of the fact that I don't think there's going to be anything done with student loan forgiveness, I do think that Joe Biden and his staff will be really generous with the student loan forbearance. So I'm not a psychic or, I don't got my ear to the street in Washington, but if I had to predict, I actually would predict that this student loan forbearance will get extended past the September 30th date that they have in place. But we'll see how that turns out, but that would be my guess. But my initial, again, plan was $3,600 a month. So long as the student loan forbearance is in place, I'm going to focus on one loan, and we'll just go and focus solely on that loan. But I wanted to just stack the money up, not actually send the payment, and I was going to just hold on to those funds, then collectively send them the payment maybe 2 weeks prior to the student loan forbearance and forgiveness period expiring. But I will tell you that bothered me. I just couldn't do it, and I got tired of going into my Fed loan account and seeing that account balance. The account balance on my student loan was $109,963.56. Okay, now remember, when you're making payments on your student loans during this period, interest is frozen, so you won't accumulate or acquire any new interest, but any interest that you had outstanding when the freeze originally took place, you do have to pay that off. So about $3,612 of this was actual interest. So I said, hey, let's just go ahead and send the first payment now so I can start seeing the numbers go down and get rid of the interest. So with that balance, I submitted a payment of $3,613. That puts the new total for my student loan balance at $106,323.56. So that's kind of where we are right now. What I plan on doing going forward, essentially going forward, I'm just going to submit the scheduled payment that I had planned in my student loan payoff strategy. That's going to be slightly over $3,600 a month. Now I will tell you, just for budget purposes, how this budget ended up playing out. At the end of the month, we actually had $4,082.77 left over. But I just submitted that payment of slightly over $3,600. One, that'll kind of keep me on schedule towards the student payoff goals that I have. But two, I also knew that I had extra costs that's going to be coming up next month. For example, I just got tired of doing my taxes. I didn't want to do them no more. With depreciation of rental property and all that stuff, I just got tired of doing them. Because it normally take me, when I'm just kind of doing all the calculations, I probably spend 5 to 6 hours just going over the numbers and the documents and double checking and checking. I don't want to do that, so I actually hired a tax firm to take care of my taxes for me. I know that that's going to run me about $670 or so. And additionally, I also think that I'll have a few vehicle repairs, just installing some brake pads on my car, that's going to run me probably $200 or $300 to get my guy to install them, because I don't know. I'm just not getting down there. It's too cold. It's been snowing and raining, so I'm just going to get somebody to do it. That's the weather turn. I might do it myself, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. So there's the update on the student loan payoff strategy. Like I said, I'm just trying to stay the course. Everybody else who's doing their debt-free journey, hey, y'all keep doing y'all thing, because I like tuning in and checking out y'all journey. Y'all, again, like I always say, y'all my accountability partners, and y'all keep me motivated. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Definitely like, subscribe, comment. Y'all have a blessed one. Take care. Peace.